Shalawam, Shalawam. This is Hadassah Batsayawan coming to you with the final lesson, part 4 of the second Exodus into the wilderness. And I labeled this blood for blood, blood for blood. And I want to take a moment here, to let you know if you hear a little buzzing sound in the background. It's a fan that's running to keep the room cool and to keep the computer cool. I am living in a very hot climate and the computer must remain cool, otherwise the fan in the computer is going to start running. It's going to be worse than the fan outside of the computer. So my apologies for that, and until the weather gets cooler, then I wouldn't have a need for the fan. So I label this one blood for blood. And the reason why I labeled it blood for blood is something that I've mentioned previously in another lesson, where the land has a lot of blood, or the residue of innocent blood still staining and polluting the land. So in order for the land to be cleansed, blood must be shed. And because there was a lot of blood that was shed, a lot of innocent blood, our blood that was shed, and not only there, in the land of our captivity as well, captivities, but this is dealing specifically with the land of Yasharaal. So in order to cleanse the land, he's not going to use his people, right? No, he's going to use their enemies. And this is the most wonderful part of this lesson that I just love. I mean, I love the whole thing, but this is just beautiful and awesome all at the same time, because it just shows you how marvelous and how wonderful he is. All right. The people, our brethren and the nations and all the different wicked ones, they have not seen the move of Yahawah for a very long time. They've heard of him and they've heard of his judgments, if they ever took up a Bible and read it, right? They know to some degree that these things happen because there's evidence. Some of them try to hide the evidence and they try to deny and justify, but the evidence is there for anyone who wants to see it, that he is a mighty Yahawah. And when he moves without apology. When he brings judgments, he brings them without apology. And that's why he has given us ample amount of opportunities to turn it around, to turn our lives around, to get ourselves right with him. Because when he calls his judgments to fall, it will fall on everyone, including the rebels of our people, but not the righteous remnant of his people. They will be protected in their land. So if you're not in the land of Yasharaal, you will be facing the judgments of Yahawah. And it's not going to be sweet. No, it's not. So let's look at Yahawah 38, the book of Ezekiel chapter 38, and let's get into these next 2 chapters and see what he is saying. And the word of Yahawah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And we know that Gog, Magog, and Tubal, Meshach, these are all European countries, Russia and those areas up in there. All right. And thus said Yahawah, behold, I'm against you, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. and I will turn you back and put hooks into your jaws, and I will bring you forth. See, he's going to lure them and all their armies, their horsemen and their horses and their horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, and even a great company with bucklers and shields. Those are all different kinds of shields. All of them handling swords. He's going to put a hook into their mouths. In other words, he's going to draw them, lure them into the land of Yasharaal. He's going to cause them to want to come against the land of Yasharaal. And he can do that, just like he can harden Pharaoh's heart. He can do that. He can lure people. Right? But you see, these people have been watching the northern kingdom dwelling safely in the land and thinking these people are living large and living happily and joyfully. And they have a lot of silver and gold. They have a lot of things that we want. Although we already have stuff. We want more. We want it all. We even want the land back. So you see, that's the work of the devil. The Father will release the devils, the spirits, right? To cause these people to lust after the things that the northern kingdom will have. And let me pause here for a second and say, look at the things that these people have. Their armies, right? Will be coming on horses and chariots. Because that's what the horses and chariots, yes, there will be chariots as well. And they'll be clothed in armor and bucklers and shields and swords and bows and arrows. Now, does this sound like technology today? What happened to the technology, folks? This has not happened yet. This will be happening in the future. So what happened to all the technology and all the robots and robotoids and clones and everything that they're making? What happened to them? What happened to the fancy equipment, the nuclear weapons that they have, and the rockets and all the different guns and whatever else they have lined up to try to destroy mankind? What happened to all those things? How come they've resorted back to the old way of fighting wars on horses and chariots, using arrows, bows and arrows and spears and swords and bucklers and shields? What happened? Technology failed. That's what happened. And I've said this before. When the sixth seal is open and he caused a worldwide earthquake, it's going to destroy their technology. All that fancy equipment that they have will be done. And they have to go back to the old ways of fighting wars. No more machine guns. You know, those big armor vehicles that they can shoot bombs and all these. All that is done. All that is finished. Verse 5, Persia, which we know is Iran, Ethiopia, Africa, and Libya, Africa with them. All of them with what? Shield and helmet. No helicopters, no airplanes, no fighter jets. They're all riding on horses and chariots with shield and helmets and armor to protect themselves. Verse 6, Gomer and all his bands, that's meaning his armies, his hordes. The house of Torgaman, these are all European countries of the north quarters and all his bands. Sorry, the house of Torgaman of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with you. So this is going to be a massive group of people. A massive number of armies that will be coming against the land of Yasharaal to try to once again wipe them out and to steal and take away everything that they owned. And the Most High, He is provoking them to it. Verse 7, be you prepared and prepare for yourself, you and all your company that are assembled unto you, and be you a guard unto them. He's like, get ready, come on folks. The land is lying there, unwalled, unfenced. You can take it if you try. Verse 8, after many days you shall be visited, reckoned with. He's going to deal, this is His way of dealing with them. In the latter years, and that's how we know that this has not happened yet. In the latter years it always points to the end times. It's a prophetic phrase, meaning in the last days, at the end, coming on to the ending of the age. So this has not happened yet, but it will happen because He has prophesied it through His prophet. And like I said in the previous video, when He sends forth His prophets with prophecies, they all didn't necessarily came to pass at that same moment. All the prophecies that were sent forth have their own timing to come to pass. And that's why we don't need prophets today anymore, because all the prophecies that He has sent forth has already been sent forth. They just need to be activated and come to pass and be fulfilled. And this has not been fulfilled yet, but the prophecy is there. And you will read more as we go on why He does things like this. He must be glorified. So still at verse 8. And I have it in different colors for a reason. Because if you read it as a whole, it's going to sound like, it's going to sound very jumbled. But you have to realize the way how these phrases are put together could be put together this way to bring us confusion, or the other reason could be that only by the Spirit of the Most High, the Ruach HaKodesh, can help you to piece these sentences together. In the latter years you shall come into the land that is brought back from the sword. So this is the land of Yasharaal that has seen many wars. And remember that just before the house of Yasharaal came into the land, the two witnesses were there who prophesied judgment not only to the people that were squatting in our land, but to the rest of the world. And after their death, then the land had an earthquake that killed another 7,000 people. So there has been a lot of warring in that land. So when you look at in the latter years you shall come into the land that is brought from the sword, you got to read it, the continuation of that sentence. They are going to come into the land brought back from the sword, and they're going to come against the mountains of Yasharaal, which has been always waste. But the sentence, and is gathered out of many people, is pertaining to the house of Yasharaal, right? It's just the way how it's phrased. And that is connected to, but is brought forth out of the nation. So the house of Yasharaal that were brought out of the nations, but these people are going to come to the land that was brought back from the sword and come against the mountains of Yasharaal, which has always been waste. But they were not, They were no longer waste or desolate places anymore, since the house of Yasharaal came into the land. Because the Most High, when they came into the land, and this was in the previous lesson, he made it bountiful again. He made it plentiful again. He turned it into almost like the Garden of Eden again. So that's the reason why they want to come into the land, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, in their lands. But here is this group of people living large and happily. And the next verse, and they shall, not verse, sentence, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. He is going to allow them to be safe. He is going to protect them. Although these armies are going to come against them, they're still going to be safe. He's doing all of this for a purpose and for a reason. And at this point of time, they would have known what he is going to do. So they will have no reason to be afraid. Verse 9, you shall ascend and come like a storm. You shall be like a cloud to cover the land, you and all your bands, your hordes, your armies, and many people with you. Now this reminds me of two occasions when the children of Yasharaal went through similar situation. It was the time of Gideon, when he was raised up to be leader over, or the judge over, the children of Yasharaal, and they had to come against the armies of the Amalekites and the Midianites, and they were like grasshoppers in the valley below. And who warred against them? The Most High. How many people did Gideon have? 300 people, 300 men of war. Did they raise a sword? No, they did not. But the Most High caused them, the armies of the Midianites and the Amalekites, to fight against each other and kill themselves. And the second time something like that happened, actually it happened more than 3 times. The second time it happened, it was the time of Yahawah, Elisha, when he prophesied that the cost of the wheat and the barley was going to be cheap. And it was the Syrians that were coming against the children of Yasharaal. And it was 2 lepers that came and found the camp empty, because the Father sent the sound of chariots and horsemen amongst the trees. And they got scared and ran for their lives. And so the children of Yasharaal, they pilfered these camps. And it's the same thing with Jehoshaphat. Remember, he put the worshippers before him, before the armies. And by the time they got to the camp of the enemy, it was done. This is what happens when we are in covenant with the Most High. When we are in covenant with him, he fights our enemies on our behalf. Or he gives us unusual and very specific instructions for his strategies, where we don't have to really lift a sword. And if we do, none of our people are going to suffer or die. That's the awesomeness of Elohim. But that's only when we are in covenant with him. So these people that are dwelling safely in the land are in covenant with him. So they have the security and the assurance that they are safe. So these people are coming with their hordes. They're like a cloud that cover the land. And this is just what the Father wants. Verse 10, thus saith Yahawah Elohim, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into your mind, and you shall think an evil thought. So guess where those thoughts are coming from? Satan is putting his little 2-bit in their minds. Because he can't see the purpose and the plans of Elohim. So he will push these people to go on war against the children of the house of Yasharaal, the northern kingdom. I keep wanting to call them the children of Yasharaal, but I don't want to confuse her. That's why I keep correcting myself. Because he thinks that he could be successful. Satan is the father of deceit, and he even deceives himself. And this is the work of the Most High. Let him be deceptive, because he will deceive his own self. And he's a pawn in my hand to use against the enemies of my children, of my people. So an evil thought is in their mind to come and war against these people who are small in number compared to them. So yeah, we can take them. And they have no security. They're dwelling in unwalled villages. Hey, how much easier is this going to be? Yeah, we can do it. Let's go, folks. Verse 11. And you shall say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. You see? Because the Father is showing them what they have, so that they can be lured to come in, because they're thinking they have the great numbers. And here are these little puny people in this exposed land. Verse 12. And they're coming to take a spoil and to take a prey, because they're going to be the hunters, and the children, the house of Yasharaal will be the prey. To turn your hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, who have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. You see, they got rich. They got abundance. All the different things that he has promised us, they received because they are now in covenant with him. There are many people out there, they don't want any covenant with the Most High, but they want the sweeties. Verse 13, Sheba and Dedan, these are Arabs. And the merchants of Tarshish, now that's up in the air as to whether that has to do with Spain or another country. But it doesn't matter, because we know that these countries are going to be goading these people. You see how Satan is? Goading them. And with all the young lions, the upstarts thereof, shall say unto you, are you come to take a spoil? Have you gathered your company to take a spoil? To take a prey? To carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? No, they're salivating at the thought. Right? Verse 14, therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog. No, when he's talking to Gog, he's talking to the whole multitude, all right? Thus saith Yahawah Elohim, in that day when my people Yasharaal dwells safely, shall you not know it? I'm going to let the whole world know. My people are safe in their land. The rest of you are facing judgments and all manner of chaos and destruction. But my people are safe, and they have plenty of food and clean water. And look at you. He is going to let them know it, because he has a plan. Verse 15, and you shall come from your place out of the north parts, and many people with you, all of them riding upon horses. Remember I told you, where's technology in those days? In the coming days, there's going to be no more technology. A great company and a mighty army. Verse 16, and you shall come up against my people Yasharaal as a cloud to cover the land, and it shall be in the latter days, in the last days. And I will bring you against my land, that the heathen may know me. When I shall be sanctified in you, O Gog, before their eyes. You see, the whole world is going to know who Yahawah al-Hayam is and what he is capable of. His name will be glorified. His name will be sanctified in the eyes of all the heathen, and most importantly in the eyes of his people. Verse 17, thus saith Yahawah al-Hayam, are you he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants the prophets of Yasharaal, who prophesied in those days many years that I would bring you against them? You see, Yahawah prophesied this thousands of years ago. And it is known that this so-called war is going to take place. And it will seem to the eyes of the heathen that this thing was spoken of so long ago, and now it is coming to pass. It is coming to pass. He had spoken it by more than one prophet. That's why he said, my servants, the prophets of Yasharaal. All these prophecies that are going to be fulfilled in these days, in these last days, will be known to the heathens and to his people. It will be known. How can it not be known? People around the world, they know that things are happening because the Bible says this and the Bible says that. People that are not losing faith, but their hearts are growing fearful. They're turning to the Bible. They're turning to the church leaders and the church and whoever else. And they're the ones telling them, hey, these are prophecies coming to pass. And they'll be like, what? What prophecies? And that's how they're going to learn that they're prophecies that are to come to pass. And there are more too that are going to come to pass. That's how they're going to know about these prophecies. Because when things start to happen in this world and they can't make sense about it, and the news, the mainstream media is not going to satisfy their questions with the appropriate answers, they're going to turn to other means to get answers. And that's how they're going to find out about the prophecies. There are many people that have posted things about the different prophecies that are to come. They may have the people wrong, but the prophecies are correct. Now, once those people realize that the people are wrong, then they too are going to be shaken and awakened, and they're going to see that the prophecies are going to be fulfilled only with these people, the northern kingdom. And that these armies are going to come against the northern kingdom, which are dwelling safely in their land. Not the people that are currently squatting there. Those people will be long gone, either killed off or they will return to the lands that they came from originally. The land must remain desolate for a period of time before the children, the northern kingdom, returns to their land. And that's why when they see the land prospering, it's going to glorify the name of Yahawah. Because how can a land that was so desolate become so fruitful in no time at all? Let's carry on. Verse 18, and it shall come to pass at the same time that Gog shall come against the land of Yasharaal, said Yahawah al-Hayam, that my fury shall come up on my face. He's going to remember. You see, he's doing all of this to bring judgment against these people. to destroy them. He wants to destroy them because these are the main people that have destroyed his people. Excuse me. Had a little hiccup there. They're the main people that destroyed his people. In the past, they shed their blood. Blood must be for blood. So he's going to remember. Remember, he's storing up his fury. He's storing up his wrath for all the things that have come against his people. And not just the northern kingdom. We're talking especially about the southern kingdom. The southern kingdom, they saw more warfare and more destruction than even the northern kingdom. But they were also very wicked as well. Verse 19, for in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Yasharaal. This will be shaken. But not for destruction though. Because remember, the people are going to dwell in safety. So that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heavens and the beasts of the field and all the creeping things that creep upon the earth and all men that are upon the face of the earth, not Yasharaal, upon the earth shall shake at my presence, because he's going to make his presence be felt. And the mountains shall be thrown down, again, not Yasharaal. And the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground, not Yasharaal, not in Yasharaal. They're safe. But those nations that are surrounding the area and even on the earth is going to feel the wrath of the Most High when he comes down to deal with these pagan people, these armies that are coming against his people. And although Yasharaal is going to shake, it's not going to be a destructive shake. Remember when, before Masha went up to the Mount Sinai to receive, excuse me, to receive the laws and the commandments, and when the Most High, Allah Hayam Shaddai, came down from heaven, smoke and fire, and the earth, the mountain quaked. The whole area quaked. Because when he comes with a shaking. The earth must shake. It will be destruction for the people that are not his, for the nations. But when it comes to his people, they're safe. Verse 21. And I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains. So he's going to say, bring out your swords and start cutting. And yet said Yahawah, every man's sword shall be against his brother. So he's going to command them to kill each other. Who else can do something like that? Can any other? Satan can't even do that. Satan has no power to tell people to kill one another just like that. Yes, he has evil influence on people, but his evil influence is only used or allowed when the Most High permits him to do it. But when the children of Yasharaal, the armies of Yasharaal, go against their enemies, do you think that Satan can put a word in their heart or in their mind to go against each other, to kill each other like that? Not when the Most High is with them. But he started doing it with them when they became split and they were enmity against each other. That's why the father had to separate them. You know, when you have two children that are fighting, you got to send one in one room and the other in another room. Keep them separate. Because if they come together, all they're going to do is fight. Well, that's when Satan had power over the 12 nations. because the Most High was not there. He turned his face away from them. But once the Father is for us, no one can be against us. But these are Satan's people, and the Most High can cause them to turn their swords against each other. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. He's the one that can cause anything to happen and everything to happen. But Satan is limited in what he can or cannot do. And the only time he has power over us is when the Most High has turned away from us. Then he has full control. That's why he said, come under my covenant. When you come under my covenant, then I can protect you. Then I can take care of you. I can put a hedge around you. Satan can't come near you unless I want him to, because I'm going to teach you something, and I'm going to teach you how to glorify me, and you're going to see my hand in the process, and you're going to glorify me even more. But you're safe. You're safe. He used him like a pawn. Let's move on. Every sword shall be against his brother. They did not come to the land of Yasharaal to fight against each other. They were in unison to come against Yasharaal. But in the end, they turned against each other because the Most High sent out the word. No gods can do that. No other gods can do that. In fact, he is not a god. He is Yahawah. Verse 22, and I will plead against him with pestilence. Now, he's not pleading in that sense, right? But he's coming against him with pestilence and with blood. Why? Because they're going to be killing each other and shedding a lot of blood. And I will rain upon him and upon his bands, his armies, and upon the many people that are with him with an overflowing rain and great hailstones and fire and brimstone. This is judgment. He wants blood for blood. 23. Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations. They shall know that I am Yahawah. Too many people are thinking that their gods are the real gods of this earth, that the ancestors can help them, that the shrines and the images and the idols that they make with their hands can save them and protect them and provide for them. And this is how he is going to show the world, with my fury and my wrath poured out upon these millions of people, armies from all around the world that is coming against these one itty bitty bit of people. And not once did they have to assemble themselves as an army to fight or put themselves in a battle array to fight against these people. No, they're probably just sitting back and like, wow, these people are coming. They're really coming. Good. All right, let's see some action here. And all of this to show the world and to Yasharaal who he really is. Now we're going to move on to Yahawah, chapter 39. And this is the last chapter that we're going to look at to finish up the Exodus into the wilderness. And this is the latter part, the last part, to show you the purpose of Yasharaal in their land. The reason why he brought them into their land. He brought them there for safety, for them to multiply, to live comfortably, but also to clean the land. The land must be cleansed. Therefore, Son of Man, verse 1, prophesy against Gog and say, thus saith Yahawah Elohim, behold, I am against you, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn you back and leave but a sixth part of you. He's going to bring out five sixths of the people, and will cause you to come up from the north part. So only about a sixth of the people will be left in their land. That's how many people are going to come out against Yasharaal. And I will bring you upon the mountains of Yasharaal. And I will smite your bow out of your left hand, and will cause your arrows to fall out of your right hand. Again, let me ask you this. Where is the technology? Where are the machine guns? Where are the sniper rifles? Where are the shotguns? Where's the machinery, the high technology that these people ought to have? What happened to it? Now they're resorting to bows and arrows, shields and spears. Verse 4. You shall fall upon the mountains of Yasharaal, you and all your bands and all the people that is with you. And I will give you unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beasts of the fields to be devoured. That's how they're going to be destroyed. They're going to destroy each other, and then the birds and the animals are going to eat them up. Feast day for the birds and the animals. Verse 5. And you shall fall upon the open field, for I have spoken it, said Yahawah Elohim. And if he have spoken it, then it will come to pass. Verse 6. And I will send a fire on Magog, and among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, and they shall know that I am Yahawah. So this war, this judgment that he is bringing upon the multitude, the armies that are coming against Yasharaal, is not limited to them. The judgment is for everyone. But he is going to concentrate on these armies because they're the ones that he lured into his land, because he wanted to destroy them. Verse 7, so will I make my holy name known in the midst of my people Yasharaal, and I will not let them pollute my holy name any more. How do you pollute his holy name? When you call on other idols, when you call on the names of other idols, you're polluting his name. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahawah, the Holy One in Yasharaal. Verse 8, behold, it is come, and it is done, said Yahawah Elohim. This is the day whereof I have spoken. So he has spoken it more than 2,000 years ago, and he's saying it will be done. And my name will be glorified. And my children, Yasharaal, they will not think of polluting my holy name ever again. When they see me at work, when they see what I have done to protect them. Verse 9, and they that dwell in the cities of Yasharaal shall go forth, and shall set on fire and burn the weapons, both the shields and the bucklers, and the bows and the arrows and the handstaves, which will be the rods, and the spears, and they shall burn them with fire for 7 years. They're going to have wood in great abundance. So the shields are made of wood, the bucklers are made of wood, the bows and the arrows are made of wood, the spears and the handstaves, the rods, all made of wood. It's going to take 7 years because of the amount of people that will be coming against Yasharaal. Verse 10, so that they shall take no wood out of the field, neither cut down any out of the forest. They wouldn't need to go out and to go cut down a tree to get wood. It's already provided for 7 years. For they shall burn the weapons with fire, and they shall spoil those that spoiled them. These are the people that had them in slavery. These are the people that abused them and misused them and persecuted them and robbed those that robbed them. They're going to get abundance again, said Yahawah Alahayam. Verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place there of graves in Yasharaal. You see, the land needs to be cleansed because the land needs the blood. The blood for blood. Because of the innocent blood that was shed there. So they're going to have a grave. They're going to have graves in Yasharaal, the valley of the passengers on the east of the sea. And it shall stop the noses of the passengers, those that are passing through. They're going to smell the stench of death. But don't worry, the Father's going to clean that up too in his time. And there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamongog, the multitude of Gog, because that's where the whole multitude, the multitudes of the peoples that came out against Yasharaal, they're all going to be buried there in that one spot. That's their burial ground. Verse 12, and 7 months shall the house of Yasharaal be burying them. 7 months compared to 7 years of wood. And they'll be burying, and 7 months shall the house of Yasharaal be burying of them, that they may cleanse the land. That's the purpose of them coming. The army is being brought to Yasharaal because blood must be for blood, and the land must be cleansed, and the pollution that was in the land must be cleansed. And this is what the northern kingdom is going to do. Cleanse the land to get it ready for the coming millennial reign of Hamashiach. Verse 13, yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown the day that I shall be glorified, said Yahawah Alahayam, because it will be something that they have never seen before. How they didn't even raise one finger, and the Most High caused these armies to come out against them, and they were all destroyed, and all they have to do is bury them. That's all they have to do, bury them. Verse 14, and they shall sever out men of continual employment. Imagine, for 7 months continuously, they're going to be passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, because people are going to be passing through the land. So the passengers are going to tell them, hey, when I passed through this area, I saw a bone. That's how they're going to know, and that's how they're going to cleanse the land. So these passengers that remain upon the face of the, passing through the land, let's start from verse 14 again. They shall sever out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remain upon the face of the earth, to cleanse it. Again, to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search. So they're going to spend whole 7 months, because there's so many people. It's going to take them 7 months to bury that multitude of people. And then after 7 months, they're going to keep searching the land. And they're going to have the help of people passing through the land, so they don't have to do it all themselves. The Most High would allow people to pass through the land, and them passing through the land, and they see a bone, and I'm going ahead of myself again, but when they see a bone, they're going to put a sign next to it. And that's in verse 15. And the passengers that pass through the land, when any sees a man's bone, then shall he set up a sign by it till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamongog. So these are the bones that the animals may have pulled apart, dragged off somewhere, And so they have to find every single bone and bury it in the valley of Hamongog. Right? It took them 7 whole months. 7 months to bury that multitude of people. But now after 7 months, now they have to find the bones that have been scattered by the animals, the wild animals. Verse 16, and also the name of the city shall be Hasmonah, meaning multitudes. Thus shall they cleanse the land. You see, it's all about cleansing the land. Now the land can breathe a sigh of relief. And now it can be at perfect peace and perfect rest. Verse 17, and you, son of man, thus saith Yahawah al-Hayam, speak unto every feathered fowl and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves and come. Feathered fowl, he's talking about the carrion birds, right? Gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice that I do sacrifice for you. Even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Yasharaal, that you may eat flesh. You see, nothing goes to waste. He's given them food. And he called it his sacrifice because his people's blood, his children's blood were killed. The blood of the innocent were killed in the land. And now he's going to sacrifice on their behalf to cleanse his land, to get it ready for his son to come. And they're going to come and drink blood. Verse 18, and you shall eat the flesh of the mighty and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams and of lambs and of goats and of bullocks, all of them fatlings of Bashan. And Bashan is a district east of Yarden, which is Jordan, that was given to the half tribe of Manasseh. And we know we're going to get that land back. And that's why all along that area, and this is another thought, well, it's not a thought. This is another reason why these people had to come out. Because the Father wants to take back all of his land, all of the territories of his land, from the river Euphrates onto the Nile River, and up north and down south. All of that is his land that he gave to our forefathers, and our land has been divided and given to other nations. And he's saying, okay, in order to get rid of these people out of my land, I'm going to bring them into the lands, and I'm going to bring war against them, break out the sword against them, their own sword, because I'm going to expand my people's land once again. And they're going to take ownership of all their land, not a sliver, all of their land. And who's going to come against us when we take back our land? After what they've seen him do? Nah. After they see him in action, they're not going to dare rise up against him or our people. And remember, the southern kingdom is yet to come. The southern kingdom is yet to come. Verse 19, and you shall eat fat till you be full and drink blood. You see, more blood. He keeps talking about blood. Till you be drunken, my sacrifice which I have sacrificed for you. So killing all these people was a sacrifice on behalf of his people that were killed, murdered. Children, babies, murdered. Innocent blood, murdered. And not just in the land of Yasharaal. We're talking about wherever we were taken into captivity. There was a lot of death. So he's taking vengeance for the land and for the people, his people. Verse 20, thus shall you be filled at my table with horses and chariots. Now, he's not talking about the actual chariot because it's made of metal. But the chariot drivers, they're people, right? Need people to drive the horses and the chariots. So that's what they're going to be filled with. The people that are driving these chariots. And they're going to be filled with the horses and with mighty men and with all men of war, said Yahawah Elohim. And going back to verse 18, when it talks about rams and lambs and goats, these people are going to come with their food because it's not going to happen overnight. They know that they're going to have to travel to the land because they're coming from all these different places. So they're going to have to bring food with them. They're going to bring their animals because that's how they're going to get their meat. So that's why he said he's going to cause these birds to come and eat their rams and their lambs and the goats and the bullocks, because those are their flocks that they brought with them. The Father doesn't want it, and he's not going to give it to his people. They're polluted. And the children of the northern kingdom will already have their own cattle. They don't need these animals. There are times when in the days of our forefathers, when they went out to war against nations, that the Most High would permit them to keep the flocks and the cattle. And then there were times when he said, burn it all with fire. Because those ones that he commanded to be burnt with fire were polluted. And the people were an abomination to him. Okay, let's move on. Verse 21. And I will set my glory among the heathen, and all the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand I have laid upon them. The whole world is going to know about this. Verse 22. So the house of Yasharaal shall know that I am Yahawah, their Elohim, from that day and forward. There will be no question in their mind after they see all these people coming against them, that he is keeping them safe. And then they see the destruction of their enemies before their faces. And unlike their forefathers that saw the destruction of their enemies and did not believe and still whine and complain, these ones that will be living in the land that are in covenant with him, the righteous remnant that will multiply, these are the ones that will see and believe even more and glorify his name even more, which is what our forefathers should have done. But they had no faith, and they were filled with idolatry. And that's why he scattered them. Verse 23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Yasharaal went into captivity for their iniquity. It shall not be forgotten, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them and gave them into the hand of their enemies, and so they fell all by the sword. That's why our people were destroyed. That's why they died. That's why they were killed and persecuted. Because they trespassed against the Most High, and he hid his face from them. Transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Verse 25. Therefore, thus saith Yahawah Elohim, now will I bring again the captivity of Yaakov, and have mercy upon the whole house of Yasharaal. We're talking about the 9.5 tribes now, and will be jealous for my holy name. Verse 26. After that they have borne their shame, and all their trespasses whereby they have trespassed against me, when they dwell safely in their land, and none made them afraid. Now they have already borne their shame because of all the trespasses, and now he has rolled back all of this from them and brought them back into covenant with him. They're dwelling safely in their land, and none will make them be afraid. Verse 27, when I have brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations. Like when he brings them out, the nations all around the world are going to know about this thing, and no one will be able to stop him, and therefore they will not be able to stop them. And he will be sanctified in them in the sight of their enemies. Verse 28, then shall they know that I am Yahawah, their Elohim, who caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them unto their own land. He scattered them, and he regathered them, and have left none of them anymore there. No, many people, many people take this phrase to mean that everyone is going to come out, whether they're rebels or not. It does not mean that. No, it does not. It means that his righteous remnant will be coming out. Okay, let me backtrack. He will bring out the people, and those that were, whose hearts are not right before him, he will sift them out in the wilderness. Those are the rebels. The righteous remnant would be making it into their land, the land of Yasharaal. And the ones that think, okay, I don't really want to do this. I want to stay in the land. I want to stay here because this is all I ever know. You want to send me into a wilderness where I can die? No, thank you. Can the Most High provide a table in the wilderness? Can he supply my needs in the wilderness? Can he give me leeks and cucumbers and flesh pots in the wilderness? No, I'd rather stay here where I know I can get these things that I love. So you know what the Most High is going to do? He's going to kill them off all there. He's going to slaughter them. So in essence, none of them will be left there anymore. Actually, the correct phrase is, and left none of them anymore there. So if you're not coming out, you're going to die. And let me remind you of what happened with our forefathers when they were in Mitzrayim, when they were in Egypt, and the 10 plagues. Now, during that time of the 3 days of darkness, when there were some of the children of Yasharaal that decided, I am not leaving Mitzrayim because I don't know what is waiting for me in the wilderness. I'd rather stay here in Mitzrayim. And you know what the Most High did? During those 3 days of darkness, he slaughtered those ones. He killed them all. The rebels that refused to leave Mitzrayim, and who refused to listen to Masha and Aharon. That's Moses and Aaron. Those rebels that decided that they were going to stay, they were killed. And during the 3 days of darkness, the children of Yasharaal buried them without the Mitzrayim knowing. He didn't want Mitzrayim. He didn't want the Egyptians to know that he slaughtered his own people. So during the 3 days of darkness, when no one can see anything beyond their nose, he got the children of Yasharaal because they still had light. He got them to bury those rebels in the land. And when it was time to come out, everyone came out. So it was then, so it will be again. When he is ready to regather his people from these heathen nations, and he says it's time to go, and these people decide, I'm going to stay, they're going to be slaughtered in the land. He's going to plague them. And they're going to die, so none will be left. All his people must come out. And the rebels he will take care in the wilderness. And those are the even more extreme rebels that decided to stay. But the rebels that he slaughtered in the wilderness are the ones that thought that they can sneak in. Sneak in with their idolatry in their hearts. That they can pretend that they want to be righteous. You can't pretend anything with the Most High. He already knows what's in your heart. So they're like, yeah, we're going to come out because we want to serve the Most High. I got something in my heart. I want to keep serving my old God. That's not going to happen. So none will be left. And that's what that scripture there means. And some people, I heard this one person in particular, that this is, this proves that there's no such thing as a remnant that will be coming out. If you look at this one phrase tells you about it all. There's not going to be a remnant coming out because he's not going to leave anyone behind. So that means that I could be as bad as I want to be and I'm coming out. Because he's not going to leave anyone behind. And that is correct. Because the extreme rebels will be killed off there, and the other rebels, the snakes, the sleek ones that think that they can fool him, they're going to be killed off in the wilderness. So that's what that phrase there means. Verse 29 and the final verse. Neither will I hide my face anymore from them, for I have poured out my Ruach upon the house of Yasharaal. So that's how we know that these 4 scriptures, these 4 chapters are to do with the house of Yasharaal, the northern kingdom, and not the southern kingdom. And this is their role in their land when they're brought into their land to cleanse the land from the blood of all the innocence that was shed there, to bury the dead bodies of their enemies, and keeping the land clean with the worship of Elohim that he will reinstitute to them. He will reestablish his worship. He will reestablish Yahawah. And there they will live peaceably from that point onward, from the time they leave their lands of captivity. They will live in peace. And I'm speaking only of the righteous remnant. They will live in peace and they will live in prosperity. They will live the way how they will live according to the word of Elohim that he had promised to our forefathers when he said, I will bring you into a land of milk, flowing with milk and honey, with richness and sweetness. He is going to bring that to pass, and this time it will be forever. Right? So that concludes this lesson, the second Exodus into the wilderness. And I will bid you Shalawam, Shalawam. Please look forward to my other lessons. I have many other lessons coming out. If you have not viewed the ones I already uploaded, I have many lessons to put out there. I just hope that I have enough time to get it all done. So again, I wish you Shalawam, Shalawam.